Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York, and if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So, a good question today came from someone who asked, what happens when the seller doesn't have an attorney? Now, just take a step back in case you don't know. In New York, once a seller says yes to you, you need the seller to get an attorney to prepare the contract for you, right? It's not what you see on the internet, where you just push a contract across the kitchen table, give them a check for $50. In New York, there's an attorney involved. The seller's attorney prepares the contract, sends it to your attorney for negotiation and execution. So what happens if the seller doesn't have an attorney? So you have a couple of choices, right? In general, what we do is we recommend an attorney, right? We recommend an attorney who knows our attorney and who will represent the seller and their best interests, but will be easy to deal with and knows the things that we like, and we'll make the transaction as simple as possible. But we'll still represent the seller's interest. They don't work for us. They will get paid by the seller, and that is one option. Another option is the seller refuses to get an attorney. I don't want to pay for it. I've had that happen a few times, and I've spoken about this before, but I always dreamed about that. It would be an amazing situation where there'd be no seller's attorney. It would be so easy. So a couple of things. First of all, you have to have them sign a very strongly worded affidavit that says that they understand they're not being represented, even though that's usual for this kind of transaction. Second of all, I did a couple like that, and they were not fun. I can tell you it is not as simple as you think. You would think it's simple, and it does make getting into the transaction simple, but there are so many procedures that a seller's attorney is responsible for in the transaction that if a seller doesn't have an attorney, they fall on you. So I had, just to give two examples. One example, sellers, it was a brother-sister who had inherited a house, and they told me at the first meeting that they wanted everything split 50-50. I completely forgot that. And if there was a seller's attorney, then right before the closing, he would send a list of checks or a checklist and would have said that he wants a proceeds split. I didn't remember that. Closing came, there was one check. They were all upset. All right, easily fixed, but still, it's something that fell on me. Another situation, sellers also had inherited the property, I think, or they had owned it a while, but there was some parent on it, and they needed a death certificate. Not something I want to get. That's something a seller's attorney would have done. Now, the seller's attorney is responsible to clear up all the title issues on the seller's side. But if there's no seller's attorney, then it falls on me to do that. So I had to go get death certificates like day before the closing. Was not an easy thing. Stupid things that I don't like to be hassled with, that I enjoy the transaction taking its place. Now, this is simply because there's always a seller's attorney on a real estate transaction, and the title company and the buyer's attorney are always assuming that the seller's attorney is going to clear up the title issues, take care of the checklist, and that kind of thing. So if there is no seller's attorney, it falls on you if you're assigning the deal. Remember, in a typical assignment closing in New York, there could be 4 attorneys there. There could be a seller's attorney, there could be my attorney in the middle, buyer's attorney, and if the buyer's getting hard money financing, there'll be a lender's attorney too. So a lot of attorneys getting paid, a lot going on. So if the seller doesn't have an attorney, you really have the option. The best thing to tell them is always, you should be represented. Here's somebody I recommend, or you go. What happens also a lot of times, they tell you they don't have an attorney, and then 2 days later they say they do have an attorney. I had a situation recently where the guy said, I'm not using an attorney, definitely not. I go, no problem. That's fine. I said, he really should be, but if you don't, I understand. And then 2 days later, he goes, of course, I found an attorney. Most people understand that you're going to use an attorney in New York. If they bought the property in New York, they use an attorney. They know there was a seller's attorney. They're familiar with the process. Happens occasionally that they're just completely lost. And then you really have the option of either referring them, recommending an attorney to them, or going the no attorney route. But just be careful if you go the no attorney route, because things are going to fall into your lap that you probably are not ready for. Happened to me on a few occasions. So if you want information on how I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you like these videos, please click like. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Please put any comments in below. My office phone number is there. You can call me too. And any way I can help you, it is an honor and privilege to help you in any way that I can.